This video is part 3 of making gorgeous collage papers with soap bubbles, where I'm going to share 2 ways of making these magical papers super easy with unbelievably gorgeous results. To check out the other 2 demos I've done on soap bubbles, click on the word more under this video and you'll find the links to watch parts 1 and 2 as well. Hello, my name is Catherine Rains. I'm a mixed media collage artist and welcome to Tune In Tuesday, where I share art demos to expand your mixed media toolbox. If you see value in my art demos, I would deeply appreciate a thumbs up and if you would subscribe to my channel below. Links for all the supplies to make soap bubble papers are down below under the word more. And while you're there, you might also want to check out my free 5-lesson online workshop, Collage Kickstart, where I teach you how to use all the collage papers taught during Tune In Tuesday to make fabulous collages the very first try. So let's get into creating 2 types of collage papers from soap bubbles. The supplies to make these 2 types of bubble paper are super fun. The first paper, we're going to use a bubble machine that is battery operated, comes with its own suds. For the second one, you can use any type of pre-made bubbles that has a wand in it to blow bubbles with and some dishwashing liquid. And for paper, you can really use anything. I'm using a sketch pad that's 75 pound. You can use really anything, but a little bit of a heavier weight paper is better because we are going to be adding quite a bit of water. A heavier paper will take the water better. And of course, you need some kind of acrylic paint. I'm using Nova paint, but you can use anything. And I'm going to be using my 2 primaries that I use for all of my demos, which is Phthalo Blue Green shade, Hansa Yellow Light. I'm also going to add a little black, a little white, just to add some variety. And you want to pull out some kind of cup or container that you can mix your bubbles into. Let's start making papers with bubbles. We're going to make our first type of bubble paper with a bubble blowing machine. This comes with its own little jar of bubble, and I just need to color it. So we're going to experiment a little bit. I've got my Phthalo Blue Green shade. I'm going to put a drop or 2 of the paint in the bubble. Put the lid on, mix it up, and then all you do is literally take these tubes, put them inside the bubble mixture, screw this on. It's nice and tight. There you go. I've just got a piece of 75 pound sketch paper to do this on. And really, I probably could do it on any kind of paper. And I am just going to hit this little button. By the way, this is battery operated, so I don't do anything but just trigger the button and see what happens. Now I do have bubbles going lots of different places in my studio. I am trying to aim this down toward my surface here. I have a beautiful piece of light valued paper with bubbles on it, but what I'm going to try to do is make some darker bubbles by adding more paint to my mixture. So let's see how this works. Now I've added a little yellow and a little more blue. Let's see if I get anything different. So it takes just a little bit of experimenting with how much paint to put in here and how hard you want to push the lever to get the different effects. Love, love, love that. Next up, I'm going to take some children's bubble solution that's already pre-made that comes with a bubble wand, and I'm going to mix that with some dishwasher liquid. So first up, we just take a cup, and I'm going to pour some of this pre-made bubble solution in it, maybe an inch of the bubble solution. I'm going to take a generous amount of this dishwashing liquid, just squeeze it in there. And the reason we're putting this in here is it makes the bubble solution stronger for the bubbles we're about to make. And now we want to color this so we get colored bubbles. This is Phthalo Blue Green shade. I'm going to pour a little bit of it in there. I'm going to add a little bit of white to this as well so that I get kind of a light blue color. Just going to mix this up right in the container. Oh, I think I want a little bit lighter shade of blue, so I'll put more white in. You really can't add too much paint, at least that's been my experience. I've got a pretty blue there. think I'm gonna put even more. So I'm gonna take my bubble solution here, and I'm just gonna tap the extra off, blow softly, and you get a ring. Now, this is just the first layer of this. I'm gonna layer a couple different colors on top. Ideally, that's what I want, which is a bubble that sticks. Now, all of the paint that was in the bubble will sink to make this beautiful round. But even these abstract ones will work. So the more you do this, the more you get kind of a technique of how hard to blow. Sorry, my head is a little bit in the screen here. I try to let go of the bubble before it does that, but that also makes an interesting design. There you go, that's a good one. Okay, that's a nice first layer. And I actually have a couple bubbles that haven't popped yet, which is fine. Now I've already mixed up a variety of different colors so that I can use this as my palette. And as you probably know from my other demos, I only use the same 3 primaries for all of my experiments. So all of these colors you see me using are from 2 primaries. It's Hansa Yellow Light, Phthalo Green Blue shade, or it's the other way around, Phthalo Blue Green shade. Actually, I'm gonna take this kind of apple green and see if I can get some contrast going here. So it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes the bubbles stick, sometimes they splat, and sometimes the bubbles all join together and you get bigger ones. I got a lot of pools of moisture here, so I'm just gonna take a shop towel and pull up some of it. Now, you might like the dark kind of pools of paint. That makes it interesting looking as well. But I don't want quite so many of them. I want the bubbles to be the star, not these kind of drips that happened. This is a pretty interesting first paper. I love that. So I mixed up some phthalo blue green shade along with a tiny bit of black. So let's see if we just get one with just a solid color on here and see what it does. Again, it's very important to kind of tap to make sure there's a little bit of bubbles in here, but as much as you can, get the bubbles out, and you want the extra liquid out. Oh, goodness. Now that is ideal. Now, part of the reason you want to tap this to get, to get the bubbles out is also so you don't get extra liquid in your bubbles. So again, blot up some of the extra drips, and I absolutely love that. Try one more because it's just so much fun. I'm going to use teal as my first layer. Now, while this is still wet, I'm going to add some of this apple green and see if the paints will mix a little bit. I could be in love. Pop the bubbles. My bubble papers are now dry, and I've got 2 very distinct looks of papers with bubbles. My bubble machine created much more dense bubbles and a lot of different splats, which I think were really cool. But I also like this very subtle paper. It would be very useful placed next to another paper that is very dark or has more pattern to it, gives a nice contrast to it. Now, notice that this paper is very curled. That's not a problem, because when I glue it down to an actual collage, this will go completely flat. With the bubble wand papers, I got such interesting looks. I mean, these almost look frameable all by themselves without putting them into a collage. But I got so many different looks that I really want to make a bunch more. And by the way, I did make a ton of these. I probably have like, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 as I was actually experimenting with this. So I encourage you to just play with this. My papers kept looking more developed. They looked different the more I made of them. I'm not actually showing you the first 5 I made because they were just like big blobs of paint. It took me a little bit of time to get my own technique down, and it will take you a little bit of time too, probably. I hope that you enjoy making these as much as I did. To learn how to make many more types of collage papers, check out the links that are about to appear right here. And be sure to join my free 5-lesson online class, Collage Kickstart. The link to sign up is under the word "more" below. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would be deeply grateful if you would. And I'll see you here next week for another Tune In Tuesday.